Then I say welcome to everybody, and I have a little introduction. The Association of Swedish Municipalities with Nuclear Facilities, KSO, has since 2020 planned to visit the Olkiluoto site in Eurajoki municipality in Finland, and the new nuclear and radioactive waste installations. This has not been possible due to the pandemic, because of the turbulent situation in Europe for the moment. The board of KSO and Eurajoki municipality once again has decided to postpone this study trip visit. Instead, this virtual seminary with the latest news regarding these issues will take place today. There will be information from both the municipality and the industry, TVO and Posiva, regarding issues related to the nuclear and radioactive waste facilities. Also a possibility for the politicians and mayors in the board to ask questions and to have dialogue with their Finnish counterparts, questions about communication with the inhabitants and other stakeholders is also of interest. Hopefully there also be representatives from Swedish authority, SSM, Michael Egan, and from SKB, Anna Porelius today, and even from GMF, I think. So this program won't be very excited today. They from Finland always said, in Sweden you talk, and in Finland we are do things. So I said, welcome to Eurajoki municipality, Vesa Jalonen, from and Mrs. Ilona Sjöman, and from TVO, Mr. Juha Poikula, Manager Public Relations, and from Posiva, Mr. Pasi Tohima, Communication Manager.
Well said.
So I said, the floor is yours.
Is it so that you want that we start from here?
Yes,
please.
Yeah.
And you have what you want, and
yeah, we have discussed so that we don't have any kind of presentation. I think you have seen that before when Mr. Lakaniemi has shown that for you, but maybe Ilona can start and you can tell who you are.
Yes.
Hey, can you you have the sun right behind you. It's
Okay.
behind the cloud, but if you turn around, then we can see you better. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
again.
Nice.
Hello. Nice without the sun. Yes, and we are sorry that we are a little bit busy and we have to drive to Pori, the city next to us. Quite soon we must leave, so we are in a car, not now but soon. But about the introduction, the chair told it that I'm the chair of the municipal council and Vesa is chair of the board. And as Vesa told, we think that it's better that you ask some questions from us. The biggest question always is why, and the most frequent question is why have you accepted final disposal, but also why have you accepted nuclear power plants to your municipality. But we know you Swedish people, you want to discuss more and want to know about details, and that's why we think that it's better that you ask questions from us and we'll try to answer.
Yeah, I would like to say that here in Finland we think so in a municipality that we make very good cooperation with TVO and Posiva, and it's the whole time ongoing, that discussion and cooperation. And of course, we are very proud that we were the first one in the world that who accepted to final disposal, and of course we are very proud now that Olkiluoto 3 has prepared, and now, because of the situation in the whole world, it's very important for Finland that we can produce our own nuclear energy here in Finland. But I think it's better that you can start the questions and we try to answer. Please.
Thank you. And I said to everybody, do you have any questions? So tell them.
There's some hand up.
Anna-Lena.
Hello, everyone. It's very interesting. I have been to Eurajoki 2 times, and I have visited the power plants as well. And I congratulate you to the start of the 3rd reactor. It was very interesting to visit that building when it was under construction. You said that you have accepted nuclear, so have we in Sweden. We, the older politicians, decided that we shall have nuclear power because we shouldn't be so, that we must need so much oil. That was the point for many years ago. Now there is another wind blowing, but I don't think I need those windmills. But that's for me personal. So we have questions as well. You have decided to take the development of the nuclear facilities and the construction of your construction for spent fuel, and you have digged down in the ground so much. We haven't yet, but now we have the decision. How is you going further on with the work in the repository? That's my question.
It's better than Mr. Poikola or someone from TVO or Posiva will answer that question. Because we are only politician people.
As I am.
Yeah, I could. I'm Pasi Tuohima. I'm the communication manager for Posiva. I mean, I have my presentation. I will answer that. That's really, you know, telling where we are at the moment. So maybe I wait you'll get that answer later.
Thank you. And now
I ask now because I will leave the meeting 1:45.
Well, and the question was that how are we
progressing?
Basically, we left the application for operating license in December 2021, just a few months ago. That was first application for operating license in the world, and it probably takes in the ministry. We have thought that it will take maybe 2 years, but of course we can't really say exactly how long it will take. But that was a really, really long 40 years of research, thousands and hundreds of thousands of pages, maybe 200 doctorate level research papers, and all that work that has been done also together with SKB and all these people around the world, everything of the bedrock, everything of the ice ages, all this long-term safety is on that application. So there has been enough research. And what goes on with Onkalo tunnels is that we have started to dig the first 5 real final disposal tunnels, and they have been excavated now about 90%, and each of those 5 tunnels will have 30 holes. But basically the Onkalo structure has been there for long, and the test tunnels, they have been there, example tunnels have been on, but now these are the first real ones where we'll actually be the used fuel. And there are social spaces built in half a kilometer on the bedrock. There's cafeteria, there are garages, there's a lot of vehicles, air conditioning is going on. I think we will have the encapsulation building done, the roof and the walls this May. And then this year and the next year will be different kind of installations of all kind of automatical things. And if everything goes as planned, we haven't seen any dark clouds on the sky yet. So we will start the final disposal in 2025. So in 2-3 years. So that's it shortly.
Thank you very much. Then I get to Ted, you're welcome.
Ted,
We can't
said
hear
for you that.
Sorry. Well, as Madam Chairperson said, that the Finns, you don't talk so much, you act. And I heard that you say management by Perkele in Finland. You don't talk so much. And
that's old information.
Yeah. But it sounds nice anyhow. But I would like to ask the politicians, as I understand, the Greens in Finland are in favor of the facilities we are talking about. And that's quite a big difference compared to Sweden anyhow. But how has the political discussion been on local level? And how has the communication with the stakeholders, inhabitants and so on, companies and whatever, organizations been on local level? If someone could say something about that. Thank you.
We are those someone who try to say, but Vesa first.
Yeah, I think so that in Eurajoki we have had quite exceptional thing with parties that we have never had a Green Party here in Eurajoki, and everybody have voted like their own opinions, and I think that nowadays, because we have had long time nuclear facilities, those power plants, and the final disposal hasn't given so much discussions, or people are so used to nuclear energy, and I think that we have accepted that because of that.
And politicians in Eurajoki area, many of those who are against nuclear power, we have some those who are against, but they are still for.
Now we lost you.
Of the spent fuel, because we have had all those benefits from nuclear and produced that electricity, and that's why we have that spent fuel. So almost all are for the final disposal nowadays.
And I suppose that the acceptance among the stakeholders, inhabitants is of course high then.
Yes, it's very high, and as Vesa told, that we are used to live next to power plants. They are well operating. Nothing serious has happened for 50 years now, and also because the nuclear power plants are located in separate island, not in the city of the center, and all those nuclear things and facilities, they are on the same island. So it's easy to think for people in Eurajoki that those nuclear things are there, and we are living here around our municipality. And that's true that we haven't had any discussion or very not so much. And with you asked about companies, we know that Posiva and TVO, they give us information if we ask. And we have public hearings for people, but there's like 10 to 20 people taking part when we have those. So we know that if we ask, we got the answers, but there's not many questions about politician people or stakeholders at all.
And I think so that transparency is, of course, both in Finland and Sweden in a very high level. And I believe that also in Sweden, the regulator is so independent and people trust so much for the regulator, and maybe OL3 has been very good example because they have, TVO has built it so long time, and I think that's one very good thing.
You are in a car still, but may I answer this question as well, because that question is the most common question asked usually. Is it okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You're welcome.
This goes very discussing way, so no presentations, we are just discussing. I mean we are very much in the focus of all the world, and a lot of municipalities around the world are interested that how come that well, the same happened in Sweden and Finland. In site selection, the last two municipalities, they were competing that which one would get it. It's Loviisa and Eurajoki in Finland, and Oskarshamn and Forsmark in Sweden. And in the Swedish solution was that the encapsulation place is in Oskarshamn and the final disposal is in Forsmark. So, but Loviisa people were very disappointed that they couldn't have it. But the thing is, like our politicians said that since the beginning of TVO in the late 60s and 70s, the first CEO was Magnus von Bonsdorf, and even the Finnish industries at that time, they were not that open. But he decided that with transparency and openness, the nuclear will be a success story in Finland. Or otherwise, like I heard him say 3 years ago when we had 40 years of production, he said that the dogs will piss on our graves. And Magnus is now, I think, 85 or something. He's still going quite strong. But I'm still carrying the heritage of that openness and transparency. We have regular meetings with the municipalities. We have bus site tours in Olkiluoto. But the best of all is that we have a track record of 43 years of producing nuclear electricity. And Eurajoki is a small municipality. And everybody has family members or friends who have worked on the island. Same in Rauma, the nearby city. So we never have had any problems with the transparency or the trust. People know our safety culture. If the communication, if I say something, people know that I'm not talking bullshit. They have the experience, and that's how the trust has been built with the long time. And it's totally different in the countries, let's say UK, France, where it has to do with the weapons, and it has been a lot of secrecy, Sellafield cases with its history. People don't have the trust. They don't trust the companies. But I also say that that's a historical and cultural thing, that it's probably the same in Sweden, that we pay income taxes to our municipalities, not to the state. So that means that the democracy on the local level is very much taking care of the hospitals and schools and health centers and hockey arenas. It's not that much party politics. So we have the trust for our local politicians, and that's where they come to the national politics. And that's why the level in elections is quite high, 80–90%. The lowest one is 60 some Helsinki suburbs, but that's still much more than in US presidential elections. So our democracies are functioning really well, and that's because of the trust, because of the transparency, because of doing things together. So I guess every country has its own type, but I think Finland and Sweden are so alike that this works quite well. Only that you talk more, we talk to make decisions.
Thank you. I agree with you. Vesa.
Yes.
Oh, there's
Ja, next Vesa här.
hello from Eurajoki. I'm sorry I'm late because due to previous meeting, but it's easy to say same words as Pasi said, and I want to say that when we talk about trust, trust never comes during few years. It takes times, and when you get that trust, you have to always do like you say, and that very close cooperation between Eurajoki Municipality and TVO and Posiva, we have meetings and we know very well that what is going in Olkiluoto and TVO what is going here in our municipality, and that trust has comes during those decades, and I think I have been working here about 5 years, and I can say truly that trust is come by doing cooperation and inform people here. Here people know much more about nuclear issues than for example in eastern part of Finland.
Thank you. Are there more questions to Vesa Jalonen and Ilona Sjöman? No? Then I will wish you a good luck on your trip and drive carefully.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Han vinkar.
Is it you now, Pasi, or is it Juha, Mr. Juha?
I think Juha could start because Olkiluoto 3, it's just so big news.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. So good to be here. My name is Juha, and I've been working with the stakeholder relations, but also a lot with Olkiluoto 3. So I can share the screen and show you some slides and maybe one video if we get it up and running. So of course the big news happened in March, 12th of March, so almost two months ago, when we started the production in Olkiluoto. And if you think of the timing, so of course we've been talking about climate change and the biggest climate act in Finland, so it is significant for the climate. But today the even more significant thing is its domestic production. More domestic production means less need for imports, less dependency on imported energy. That's a very important argument which is now helping, and you can read all over in discussions. And I have just one proof of that how important the start of the Olkiluoto is. This is a poll, how people think about nuclear power in Finland. It's not published, so it's in Finnish. But these are the years that we've been asking, 20 years. You can see the 20 years, how people think of nuclear power. These are those who are positive against nuclear power. And the latest figure is 60%. So this is the latest bar is here, and this is done once in a year. So 60% is favoring nuclear power, but only 11% is against nuclear power. So we are now in a very, very low level of those who don't like nuclear power, 11%. So, and of course, the start of Olkiluoto 3 and the visibility in the media and all the positive comments of its positive impacts to the energy price and as I mentioned, lower dependency on imports. So that's the reason behind it. So if I show the Finnish situation, so our energy production is quite good. It's very clean. Electricity production. But there's this green area which is 20% of imports, which is a lot and which is too much. So we need to pay higher prices because of this import dependency. And if you think of Olkiluoto 3, it will produce 14% of the Finnish need. So, and basically it reduces the imports. So by calculating directly, so it would mean about, we will drop it from 20% to 6%, the need to import. Still we need electricity from Sweden. Thanks for selling it as well, but not that much anymore. I can try you if it works. So a short video where our CEO is saying something about the start of the Olkiluoto 3. So let's see if it works. And if Pasi can comment, do you hear the voices there? But
yeah, I hear it. I can hear you well.
Let's test it.
Can't see anything.
Does it work?
No.
Okay.
We can't hear. We can't see anything.
Okay. Maybe it doesn't work in this with this team. It's not Teams, so we are not used to this one. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yeah.
But not you don't see the Jarmo's picture.
No.
Okay, I have one more idea how could this work. So I start the presentation mode like that, and now I move to the video. No. Here we go. Can you see Jarmo's picture now?
No.
Oh.
No, it's still your slide.
It's amazing.
Maybe you should shut that off totally and then open up and share your screen.
Yes.
Well,
never mind. It's in YouTube. Well, here's a YouTube version too, but it's I think it's the same with sharing videos. It's not working. I just continue with I have a very good set of slides where you can see the same story. Pasi, are we back in the slides?
Yes.
Good. So our importance is quite big now. Olkiluoto is important island. We will produce soon, or already have done in some time, depending on the Olkiluoto 3 situation, about 30% of Finnish energy. So one island for 30%. So you can just imagine the importance of society and of our production. But of course, this has been a long journey. There are the steps you can see, starting from the Parliament decision in 2002, and finally, after 20 years, we're there. So it was not an easy journey, but the result is very good. And power plant is very good, so we will run it 80 years.
Very fast, we say.
Very fast, yeah.
The Finns, we do, but sometimes we do slowly.
Yeah. We have been building as long as you have been making the decision.
Yes, you have.
A few slides of the history, because it's not now a good time to look at the history. So this was the year 2004. We were starting setting up the site. This cloud is for explosions, coming from explosions, and this is the reactor building. Also the reactor building, so-called liners, the steel liners, they are quite massive. And look at the people around it doing putting the irons and pouring the concrete into the walls, which are quite thick. Talk about meters thickness. And this is from the sky, you can see how many cranes there are. So it was a big site. That's so-called polar crane, big crane that you need.
At one point, this was the biggest construction site in all Europe. I think there were 4,500 workers.
And this is the lid. Finally, no rain in after that. And this is one. In that sense, this is a good picture. You understand how big the power plant is. You see the people on the left-hand side, and this is the steam generator, the biggest component. There's 4 of these, 24 meters. Steam generators, they are the heat exchangers where we boil the water. So that's how this has to be big to make 14% of the Finnish electricity. So this is the pressure vessel where the uranium is. It's not that massive. It's about 5-meter radius. It's very heavy, but not that big. That's how you close the pressure vessel. So this is the lid or the head of it. And this is the turbine side where the steam comes and makes the turbine rotor running, rotating, shiny and nice still. And of course, this is where the monitors are, control room. So, and then we are in year 2017 where the fuel came already in. So it was quite early there in these boxes. The fuel elements came, and 2018 was quite a specific thing that came. So-called, these are just very tiny little particles, or actually they are small lines. That so-called primary neutron sources. These are those elements that started the chain reaction. So these are radioactive materials that started the chain reaction. So there's only inside there's material for less than a gram, but as you can see, the package is quite heavy. And then we did the fuel loading, 21, and connection to the grid was year after that, March. So the story has now in its final stages. And then we have in our web pages, tvo.fi, we have the production during the test period. So this is about from here now until end of September. End of September, this period of time. So we produce a lot of electricity, but it's still test productions, and that's why the lines the curve goes down. So we produce a lot, and then we test something, the production can go to 0. So that's why and after this period, we will just produce 24/7 full power. But already now we are helping the situation with the energy. Except today we are not. We have a technical issue, so we are not producing exactly today. We will produce in a few weeks. In 1 week, a bit more. We will continue production. So final stages, and anyway, the production is on. So that was the story. So please, ready to discuss if you have any questions.
Thank you, Juha. Do you have any questions to Juha? I see Ted, you're welcome.
Thank you. Is the mic on? Yeah. Okay. One question from a Swedish point of view, the time schedule you showed is impressive, of course, from a Swedish perspective anyhow. But isn't it true that you are 10 years behind schedule? You should have been in operation already?
Yes.
And
exactly.
what are the similarities with the EPR3 in Flamanville, France? I mean, that's also the same type of reactor, isn't it? And they are also
Yes.
behind schedule,
Yes.
but more than you, I think.
Yes, exactly. So this is a so-called EPR, French reactors, and we were the first to buy such a EPR. So it's the first of a kind. So there was a lot of lessons learned, and French were we had a turnkey projects. So French were the ones who were responsible for delivering the whole power plant to us, and then turn the keys to us, give the keys to us. But there was lots of learning, and they needed to do the planning a lot more during the construction. So the papers were not, of course we knew what we bought, but that is detailed planning was missing, and they didn't have the experience to build such a huge power plant. So it's late. It was supposed to be in 2009, so it's 13 years late. And our original budget was about a bit over 3 billion euros. And the final cost to us today is estimated to be 5.7 billion euros. It's well over budget, but if we would go to the market and buy such a power plant today, so the price is 10 billion, 11 billions. So if you look at the market price today and the cost for us, so it's not that bad. But of course, project was not successful, and much more. It costs us much more than we expected. And Flamanville is the sister power plant. It's the same, but one problem in the regulation is that it's not exactly the same. So we do changes in the power plant every EU country. All new power plants are safe, but they are not identical, and it means additional cost. We cannot repeat the same concept in nuclear sector to make it more efficient and lower the cost.
Thank you, Anna-Lena.
I didn't see the safety ball under the reactor on your pictures. So I found it very interesting when I visited the plant. So
Yes.
maybe
Yes.
you can explain a little about that one, because it's a little special design for that.
Yes, it's so-called core catcher. It's the photographing is not possible. It's not. We cannot enter. Our photographers, and even I haven't been there. So it's a new safety feature that if the situation goes very bad and the fuel warms and we don't get any water there, so it will melt. The fuel will melt, but it will go in this new power plant. It will go through the steel and through the concrete, and there is a special place where it goes, and it will be filled with water. So it has this kind of a room.
Thorium water.
Room is designed. Core catcher is designed from the beginning. We have prepared also to that situation in Olkiluoto 1 and 2, but originally there was, and the solution is not the same, but this has the core catcher from the beginning. It's just a big room under the uranium material in this very special and very severe accident. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any more questions to Juha? I can't see anyone, but then I say so long. Thank you, Juha. And welcome, Pasi.
Okay, the most awaited presentation. Okay, I shall share my here. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Is it full screen now? No.
No.
How do I get back to?
Down, 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 down.
Down where? No.
No.
Apps full screen. Where is it? There. No.
Bild, spel in Swedish.
Down on the
Down.
down on the right side. Down.
Down. No, it's not here.
Nej,
Next.
you next one. You was near.
This one. No.
I can't see your.
Pointer to the
Down on the orange panel to the right, you have a film screen picture there.
This
the
one.
the
No.
film screen.
I can't see it. That's it.
It's a very small one.
Yes, left, up and left.
You have plus and minus, and you can
This
take
one.
it.
No, no,
No.
no.
Oh,
The Ford one.
Right.
this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
My story is about the safe final disposal of spent nuclear fuel. And my name is Pasi Tuohimaa. I work for TVO's as a TVO's communication manager fully 9 years. And last summer in August, I started to work full-time for Posiva, because Posiva is really getting into interesting times. And I can say that all the world that has nuclear energy follows what we do. So, and since because of the COVID, there's been so much international big medias from UK, all these BBCs, all German national broadcast channels, and they all would like to visit, but we only let the Swedish television to come in last November, just because we knew we wanted to help your government in decision. So probably you saw the story as well. But shortly, we can keep this very, how to say, interactive. So if you have questions, you can interrupt me and ask immediately. So I think it's the best way how it goes.
excuse me, Pasi.
Yes.
The screen we see now is 9 pictures, and they are too small for us to read.
Okay, so I still did it. We are working with Teams all the time, though. So this Zoom is a bit different. So what should I do?
I don't know how to get it, but
I go back a little bit, so I get it. Let's see if I get.
Den där nere som jag pekar nu, ser du vad jag pekar?
Oh.
Där.
Now we can make it like this.
No, ja.
Yes.
Now,
We have your
Yes.
text in the left.
is it now big one?
It's
Or-
better, but it's not the whole. Your text
not
you're
the whole.
reading is on the left side.
Se ei Pasi ole esitystilassa.
Mihin mä menen nyt taaksepäin? I shut up a little bit and I come back because this is so complicated.
Okay.
Tuossa näkyy Pasi äsken sun omat nuo muistiinpanot tuossa vasemmalla.
How in the world do I get back?
Jo, ingen vill läsa. It doesn't matter where that we can read your text.
No, but I'll close it a little bit. The screen sharing has stopped. Now I can see you.
Yeah.
And then I put this as a full screen. Now I share my screen. Select the window and no. How come this is so difficult? So I put this down for a while.
You can have it like it was before, but a little bigger picture and your text. It doesn't matter.
That was okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have now this presentation, a big one in my screen, but now I can, how do I get you guys back? Here, and now share screen.
No.
No, you can't share.
Well, no, perhaps.
Can you see it?
Nyt on.
Now it's a big one. Okay, I could do it.
Can you see it also?
Yeah. Okay, I go forward. How do I get you guys off from the side? So the one good thing in Olkiluoto is that we have all necessary nuclear waste management in one island. So, I mean, there's no logistic problems. Most of our fuel is already there in the interim storage, as you can see on the left. It's close to the power plants, and there are 3 pools, and we built 3 more for Olkiluoto 3, so the new pools are there already. And then you can see the final disposal spent to Onkalo on the left, down there, where is the end of the tunnel. So that's like only less than 1 kilometer that we will have to transport the fuel. So it's not very much. We also will take care of the Loviisa used fuel, and since they were exporting it to Russia until 1994 or something like that, before we had the new law that you cannot export or import used nuclear fuel. So the first fuel from Loviisa will come like 2035. So we will start with our own fuel. Then we also have the operational waste repository, which is there on the right. So that's the this is what we say, that we do have a solution. Final disposal it's very actual in Sweden, but it's very actual in most of the European countries. It's just 2016 when the European Union Commission said that every country that is producing nuclear electricity, they must have a plan what to do with the used fuel. So it's nice to be ahead of, and it's nice to be having everything also almost completed already. We did a lot of work even in the beginning with the US Yucca Mountain, but they had a lot of political problems. Then we have done the same system and modeling with Asko Bay in the beginning, but since Asko Bay has not started building anything yet, now you have the permission. Our political decision-making systems are a little bit different. So we could build Onkalo quite far as a research tunnel, and then to build it as a real final disposal facility, then that was later, but then we had already done quite a lot. But the thing is that it's the fight against the climate change. It's the renaissance of the nuclear energy at the moment. It's how to make our own electricity, how to be secure. It's also now with the Ukrainian crisis and the gas problem that I think everybody is so interested about nuclear. And same has happened in Sweden, that the coin has 2 sides. If you think about what we would have to accomplish and what are the bad sides, nuclear it's very good. Every form of energy has its own problems, and what to do with the used nuclear fuel, has been won, and that's why we say that we do have a solution. About Posiva, we have a mission that what we say that we have cost-efficient final disposal of spent nuclear fuel for our owners. Posiva is owned by TVO 60% and Fortum Power and Heat 40%. So that means that the Loviisa used fuel will come also to Olkiluoto. Posiva has about 90 employees. In addition, there's at least as many external persons and who are working as consults, and then like 150 construction workers. Actually, it's Skanska Finland who is building the encapsulation building and relieving it to us now in May. Posiva's turnover in euros is almost 127 million euros last year. So that is explaining a little bit. And then we do have the subsidiary company Posiva Solutions, which was established 2016, and they are selling their expertise, and it's actually they're doing very well at the moment, and they have lots of clients. This is you have to remember as municipalities that companies like Posiva and Escobar, they are people who work there, they are very highly educated. So the higher university degree has 93% of our workers. So, and we had 26% women, 24% men, which is telling that the engineering, it's most likely that they are men working there. And we have done research for over 40 years. And that is sometimes when the discussion in Sweden, especially with the copper canisters and the corrosion, there has been so much research done over that. And then if there is one project somewhere, a student or something who says that not all the questions have not been answered, but the thing is that there are so many other research projects that say that it is like that, and I'm sure that there will always be questions as has this and that, has it been researched, but my answer is that they have been researched as well as they can be. At some point, 40 years is a long time to do research. At some point you can just start doing it, and of course keep doing research later on. Well, I go quite quickly. All I can say that if in the world there are like 20-30 countries doing nuclear energy, they all have to deal with the used fuel. So if in Finland we have €2 billion project, and in Sweden about the same, and you think bigger countries, we could easily say that the market is hundreds of billions of euros. So even if you get 1% of that, that is a lot of money. Posiva strategy is just, we have a mission, we have values, and as I'm a communication manager, I say that the responsibility, openness, far-sightedness, and reliability are the really good ones. And of course, there are safety and other things. I don't really like, safety is important, but what kind of industry is that it's talking about safety all the time for the first time? It raises a question that there must be something really dangerous because you're talking about the safety all the time. And yet nuclear is one of the, or is the safest of all forms of producing electricity. So we have the answers, but there's no need to talk about it for the first thing. This is really good picture. It tells the Onkalo history. As you can see, the site investigation and selection was done in the late 70s when it started, and they were doing up till 2000, so that was a long project. Then there was detailed design of the concept and facilities that was done all the way up till 2015. And what we're doing now is the construction of the final disposal facility and encapsulation plant. We call that ECA project, which means a bit Finnish that it's the first of a kind project. And somewhere there in 2025, we will start the operation. And then if you look forward, then there we will start the industrial final disposal, and that will go on for a long time. And then finally, there's the closure of the facility. Any questions for that? Well, safe and efficient concept, that's something which is very similar to Escobar. It's exactly the same. It might look a bit different, but the concept is the same. I go a bit quicker here. This is a good picture. It shows the multi-barrier principle of the final disposal. First, you have the fuel pellets, then you have the fuel rod, and then the assembly, and then the inner canister, and then the outer copper canister, and then it's there in a half a kilometer of bedrock. There's a buffer bentonite, like pineapple rings on the bottom of the capsule around it, and then on top of it. And those holes, which is this, the second last picture, those we have 30 in one tunnel, and then it's finally filled with bentonite, and there will be a concrete block, and then it's shut, and then we go to the next tunnel. So and all those barriers, they keep the fuel out from humans and nature. There are just some good pictures. This is the picture of the tunnels. Is those red ones in that picture are what we're doing right now. The blue one is what has been existing there for a long time, and then the green is also part of the research Onkalo project, that we have different garages and technical spaces underground. And that light blue is something that we will do in the future with the next 100 years. There's like 7 kilometers of excavated tunnels underground. There's our demonstration facilities here in 420 meters, that if you would have had a visit to Onkalo site, you would probably go to those demonstration facilities if it wouldn't have been COVID. And technical rooms are quite large, as you can see here. Now I'm just showing you some pictures, bigger pictures. You can see we have a lot of unique vehicles of drilling and installing, and those example tunnels there. There's a lot of test tunnels. There's this one full-scale in situ system test that we have already put down capsules in the holes. This one hole has 300 testers in there. They are measuring humidity, temperature in the different sizes of rock and in clay. And there's a real capsule which is heated to the same temperature as it would be when it would be a real final disposal capsule. And those tunnels, they are already, the capsules are there, and the data goes to the next tunnel where and even when we start the final disposal, we've had 8 years of data, exactly how the clay works, how the rock works. So this has been very, very interesting project. And those tunnels, they've already been shut with bentonite, and there's also a block. And this is actually a picture of one tunnel that has already been blocked and shut, but that's just a test tunnel. This is not the real encapsulation building, but that it almost looks like that already. And actually this first in the world project, what we're doing now is constructing, equipping and commissioning of the encapsulation plant. We are also equipping the disposal facility and doing the excavation of the central tunnels and the first deposition tunnels, which are almost completed already. And many other things. And application for operating license, like I said, I was left in December 2021. And these production activities we are starting, and we will have the I think that's 2023. We are doing the first really like how the capsule is going. I think that's 2024 when the capsule is taken from the temporary storage and it's been moved to the encapsulation building. It will be encapsulated, it will go down with elevators and it will be put on place. Everything we are testing the systems is like trial run. It's like hot functional tests in a power plant, but it's we call it trial run, and that it's been very has raised a lot of interest around the world that how we will do that. But it's not real fuel, it's dummy fuel, but still it will test how it will go. This is actually a picture of the week of the encapsulation building now. I think it's like 1 month old. You can't see, but it's actually, there's still a little bit of snow left. And the construction work, it still continues. I think this is a bit better picture that what was there in the last one. There you can see what tunnels have already been completed. Those red ones are to be excavated, but basically they are already done almost. And then installations and to be equipped is those green areas. And that's work is going on all the time. There's like station for the capsules underground where you can see the green shaft where the capsules go with elevator, and there's station underneath, and there's a lot of concrete inside the rock, a lot of iron. So it's basically those green air spaces are very interesting. And the technical rooms are there in 437 meters. And this explains what is the amount of meters that been excavated, basically. This is a picture of how the facility will look when it's all done in 2120. So it will be under the Olkiluoto island in the bedrock. So and as you can see, there are fracture sites in the bedrock, and the real tunnels will not go on those fracture sites. So the bedrock is probably the same as in Sweden, that there are fracture sites, and there are whole blocks of bedrock which are like from 500 meters up to 1 kilometer, and the real final disposal holes are on those blocks, and there can be a tunnel for cars and vehicles to go through the fracture site, which has a little bit water flow, but the real tunnels are not there. So there will be about 50 kilometers of tunnels underground, and the volume of the whole place is like 1.5 million cubic meters.
I have a little question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you have the intermediate storage on the same area as the final?
No, it's on the other end. It's on the other end of the island, and it's already there. There are silos.
I don't remember, but now when you say it.
Yeah, and also there it's like 60 meters to 100 meters, so it's not that deep. And there are silos, and we will build more silos if needed. But we have now, when we left the application to operate this, we also left that in the halfway, probably in this picture you can see in the halfway down there we have a place that we can do this interim in storage as well. So it's possible, but there hasn't been any, we haven't excavated anything, but it's there in a license that it can be put there as well, but it's just in case.
Thank you.
So let's see what else. And then I saw the picture that what will it look like after 4,000 years, and what will it look after 100,000 years. So that means that there will be another ice age, and it will be covered by ice. It will be all forest again. But there it is, and I'm so proud that nuclear industry is the only industry in the world that knows where its waste is after the next ice age. No other industry knows. So do we know where all the toxics from the Rotterdam harbor or London harbor are when there's 2 kilometers of ice on top of it? Do we know where all the chemical waste is? But nuclear industry knows, and it's there in the bedrock, and it's in safe place. Then few slides. We had the EIEA's General Director, General Grossi, visiting Onkalo, and what they did from Vienna, their communication people, they came out with this: Onkalo is a game changer. And what they said, it means that the most critic towards nuclear energy in Europe especially is that, oh, it's nice, it's clean energy, but you have the waste, what to do with the waste. But General or Mr. Grossi said that Onkalo is the game changer. Now we do have the solution what to do with the used fuel. And this was really good publicity for us. We are a lot in social media. You can use these hashtags, Posiva Onkalo, we have the solution, Rock to Rock, Posiva Rocks. So that's part of the transparency and openness. We like to have it as part of, as a solution and part of our everyday life, that we can use electricity. We don't have to shoot ourselves into legs and go back to old times where you cannot use energy. The world is full of energy, and we have the solution for the waste of it. So that was it. Thank you. I also had one video I would like to show, but I'm not sure if I can do it because Juha couldn't do it either. So now I shut this. Okay, any questions?
Yes, you're welcome now. If you have any questions to Pasi.
Could I put a question?
Sure.
Yes.
Ted Lindqvist. You mentioned competence and all the skilled people you have on the island.
Yeah.
In Sweden, there's a lot of discussions from the regulatory body, SSM, and also the government about long skills supply. How is the situation in Finland? I mean, in Sweden, there's a discussion between industry, academia, authorities, municipalities, enterprises involved in this energy field.
Actually, we had a meeting with SAFO yesterday in Stockholm, and this was one of the subjects we were discussing, so it's very actual. I think the Finnish, we have similar problems, but I think nuclear, we do have students again, and what I try to explain it that every industry must have something in horizon. Like Martin Luther King was saying, we have a dream. I mean, it can be blurred, it cannot be that exact, but it has to be somewhere that people believe in the future of our industry. And I think small modular reactors at the moment is like that. And I mean, it's so good to talk about it that could make nuclear much more better priced. It's not that expensive. We could have similar modular reactors, maybe 4 or 5 on a row. You could use those in distance heating in the cities to replace coal. And I know in the Lappeenranta University in Eastern Finland, they are doing those, developing those technologies, not making electricity, but just heat. So, and that's even more simpler. It's just a tank where you change the heat to distance heating. But the legislation is quite, it's not that quick. So it's the same problem in Sweden and Finland, that the nuclear law needs to be changed and that it takes time. I think the technology is quicker.
It's the same situation, that money comes from government or STUK or industry and academia for the type of education or research needed.
Yeah, nuclear used to be a kind of industry that doesn't need any subsidies. But I think when you're trying to develop something, I think there could be state money or European Union money available. But I think that's the similar thing in Sweden and Finland, that it would be. But I think at the moment, when the public acceptance of the nuclear is so high, I think those polls are best ever in Sweden. At least what I saw yesterday, that there's only 10% of people in Sweden who are against nuclear. So that's basically very low number. So now the political wind, it's mad wind. It's something that if the decision makers are willing that we could develop and have those, then of course it means money as well. But you need to build up a real project of showing where you need the money, and that's also something that the industry is developing.
Okay, thank you.
Now I leave the word to Mr. SSM or Mr. Smith. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
you very much. But if you want to see a really good animation of Posiva, I didn't show it here. Go to YouTube and just put Posiva, and we have an animation that's showing everything, and it's brand new, and it took more than a year to do it, and it's there for everybody to see. It shows it. It's 3 minutes, but it's really good.
Yes, I don't know if SSM, you do come from SSM, or you have some question to Pasi?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry, my name is Steve Smith, hence the initial S and Smith. So apologies for any confusion. First of all, fantastic presentation, Pasi, so far, and really interesting. I work for an organisation called Copeland Borough Council. It's a municipality which hosts the Sellafield site and the National Low-Level Waste Repository. I was interested, at the start of your presentation, I was interested in asking a question about the proximity of your waste stores with your nuclear power plants and your proposed site for disposal. So you answered that question really clearly in your presentation. So thank you for that. My question is, and first of all, thank you for everybody for presenting in English, because at the start I thought I was going to struggle because my Swedish and my Finnish is pretty poor.
Swedish is easy.
I have a Ukrainian family living with me at the moment, so I'd get on better actually listening to people presenting Ukrainian, I think, than Swedish and Finnish. But hey ho, my question is sort of bridging the gap between what you were saying in your presentation, Pasi, and the first presentation, and that's about community benefits. So the municipality representatives from your area who have now left the call were talking about the community benefits that the community has received. And I just wondered if you could describe what those benefits have been, and the timing for the provision of those benefits. Have they happened, or will they happen after the first emplacement of waste in 2025?
Well, shortly, I would say that just the real estate taxes that the power plant is paying for the municipality. Eurajoki has like 8,000 people, so it's a small municipality, and they budget for the year, I think it's 60 or 70 million euros or something like that. Each year they get 20 million, so 1/3 of the municipality's budget they get from the power plant and Posiva. Just the power plant real estate taxes. So that's a lot. And of course, we are the biggest employer in the municipality, and also the nearby city Rauma, which is 40,000 people. So that brings a lot of things. And of course, when we are building, let's say when Areva was building Olkiluoto 3, and we only know the costs for TVO, but basically, for the French, it has cost a lot more. Like Hinkley Point, what it was EPRs was 22 billion euros the price, so it's 11 billion each. So that leaves a lot of money in the area. So it's a huge project, and even if it has been late, it has even left more. So there's so many benefits. And then Rauma, for example, it's an old industrial town. There are shipyards and a lot of forest industries, and it already has kind of industrial identity. But now it also has nuclear identity, and people are really proud. And I would say that two most nuclear loving municipalities are Eurajoki and Rauma, because the long history and good relationship with the company. But I mean, those are the benefits for Eurajoki. But I would say that the real estate taxes is the biggest one, and it comes every year. Like, I mean, so it's quite a lot.
And sorry, can I just follow up on that then? So the real estate taxes go into the local municipality,
yes,
and then the local politicians decide how they want to spend that money.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay.
And Eurajoki, for example, it's very kind of wealthy municipality. They have it's a large area, and they have like a lot of villages. There's the main village, but there are a lot of smaller ones. And each of one of those other villages, they still have the village schools, for example. That in a lot of places in Finland, those schools have been shut down, but not in Eurajoki. And they have Eurajoki for all those schools. There's a bike lane going on, so that's quite nice.
And Pasi, I don't want you to leave us. No. We have maybe other questions too. And I have to ask, we have some people from SSM, Swedish Radiation Safety Authority, and from SKB. So I asked Michael, do you have something you want to tell us, or Anna?
I wonder if I could start. I could say something just by way of introduction. Michael Egan, my name is. I'm from the Swedish Radiation Protection Authority. I've met some of you before, but certainly not all of you who are here today. I work with the nuclear licensing department at SSM. So I've been involved with the licensing process for the repository, essentially since I came to Sweden 9.5 years ago. I thought I could just say one or two general things, and then I think it's worth going over to Anna to talk more about the potential program forward. I don't want to take her place really, because it's about SKB's priorities in terms of the different projects they have that would explain why certain things are going to go in a certain order. So, but what I wanted to make two general points first, and the first was about our relationship with the Finnish regulator. There's nobody from Stuk here today, but I just wanted to say, against the background of everything that's been going on, we have two disposal projects going on. Finland's leading the way. But effectively, it's a very similar kind of bedrock. It's essentially the same disposal concept. So it makes a lot of sense for us to have communication with Stuk. We don't get involved in each other's reviews, but we do communicate with each other about what the main issues are. And we have that contact on a regular basis. We try not to interfere too much when each one of us is involved in something very important, very intensive. And just now, Stuk is very intensively looking at the operational license application. But we also have advisory committees. Both SSM has an advisory committee on waste management, and Stuk has an advisory committee on waste safety. And I sit on Stuk's advisory committee, and we have somebody from Stuk who sits on ours. And that's all part of this process of sharing understanding and experience with each other, which we try to do, because it makes a lot of sense that we do that across the Baltic Sea. I think what I wanted to say before my suggestion is I then leave over to Anna, is that in terms of what happened next, what's happening now in Sweden? Well, two things in a sense. One, after the government's decision at the end of January that they would grant a license according to the Nuclear Activities Act, and they considered that the spent fuel management system was permissible according to the environmental code. The next practical step in that process would be to go back to the environmental court for the full environmental license and conditions. And that process is expected, but when it gets taken up by the environmental court is largely to do with the schedule of the court and the schedule of when SKB submits that, the material necessary to go forward with that. We don't expect, as SSM, to receive an application to start construction until the license has been granted in the environmental court. We also heard recently, and we know that just exactly within 3 months of the period of time when I can speak Swedish better than English these days, so I forget some words. When you can object to the government's decision, came in from some NGOs just a week or two ago. And so that may mean that there's a bit of uncertainty and a process to go forward there. But I would imagine that that kind of possibility has already been taken account in SKB's forward planning. And that's where I would like to leave over to Anna to talk about that first, before we maybe come back and talk about other steps in approvals. Can we do that, Anna?
Yes, sure, Michael, thank you. To begin with, I just want to say to Pasi, I couldn't agree more that you said that Posiva rocks, and we SKB have great advantages from Finland building its facilities right now, and of course we learn from this. And SKB and Posiva collaborate on both research and technology development. So we work very closely together. And Pasi and I, we met yesterday.
Thank you, Anna.
Every now and then we get to see them. Right. What about the Swedish process? Well, it's been an interesting year for SKB. Of course, the past year, the Swedish government has made 3 important decisions. And the first was made in August last year. And that allows us to expand the interim storage club in Oskarshamn to allow us to store 11 tons of spent nuclear fuel. And both SKB and Oskarshamn were opposed that this decision was separated from the rest of the repository system. But the government insisted, and that was because the interim storage is about to reach its current limits when it comes to the permit. And we need a new permit for at the latest in December 2023. Otherwise, it might have it will have a negative effect on the Swedish electricity production, which would be a major problem for the whole society. The nuclear power plants, they need to get rid of the spent nuclear fuel from the sites in order to be able to produce electricity. So that was the major argument from the government. But this will affect the coming steps in our licensing process, of course. And the next decision was in December. And then the government allowed us to expand the SFR in Forsmark, which is the final repository for low-level waste. And we need to expand that, extend it to take care of the decommissioning waste from the 6 nuclear power plants in Sweden that are about to be decommissioned. So that was a very important decision for our owners, of course. And then in January, it was this huge milestone that we reached. It was then the government made the important decision to allow us to build a final repository for spent nuclear fuel in Forsmark and also the encapsulation plant in Oskarshamn. And it was, of course, a very important decision, but the licensing process will continue as Michael described. We now have the acceptance from the municipalities. They allow us to, we do have sites for all our facilities, but and also government decisions. And now it's a question of, it's not a question of if, it's now a question of how we're going to implement this. So, of course, we're looking forward to moving on to the next steps in this process, and we already have. There will be a lot of details that will be reviewed and approved in the coming years, both in the Land and Environmental Court, but also by the Swedish Radiation Safety Authority. And the next step will be the main hearing in the court for the extension of the Sorry, I'm back.
Yes, you're back.
Yeah, I'm on my phone and somebody tried to call me. Yes, and so that will be held in Oskarshamn in May. And we will also have a main hearing for the extension of SFR in November, December this year. And a consequence of, from the government separating the extension of the interim storage from the whole application, which consisted of extension, club, building encapsulation plant, and the final repository. That a consequence of that is that the rest is put on hold until the extension of club is approved. So our priority is to deal with the extension of club first, and then SFR in Forsmark, and then the rest of KB's 3 system, which is encapsulation plant and final repository. So the main hearing regarding the final repository encapsulation plant will probably be in 2024 or something. But we do have other smaller issues to handle regarding the port and other minor cases in court as well during this time. So it will be interesting times for both SKB and also for the other stakeholders in this process. And if I should mention something about the NGOs, they have requested that the Supreme Administrative Court will review the government decision from January this year, and they will review scrutinize it to see if it's legal, if it's legally correct, not whether they should have made the decision according to other issues. It's just formalities. Have they followed the rule of law? And what the thing that could happen is if the court considers that the decision is against any rule of law, they could revoke it, and then the government must write a new formal decision and make a new decision. So they can't change it, they just can revoke it. But we don't see that this will affect our time schedule because the hearing will be held in 2024, so it shouldn't affect our time schedule. So I think that's about what's happening from our side.
Thank you, Anna.
Any questions?
Thank you. And thank you, Michael. And I asked one more time, is there any more questions to Pasi or Michael or Anna? No. We have Mr. Smith.
Hi there, thank you, Anna and Michael. I wonder if I could ask a similar question to the one that I asked Pasi about community benefits and the extent and timing, recognizing that there will be community benefits in two separate communities, separate municipalities, I assume.
I think the main reason for these municipalities, I think we should let Margareta speak for herself here, but I think one of the main reasons, or the main reason for Östhammar to get involved in this is responsibility, to take responsibility for the waste from electricity production, and they take a national responsibility for this, which the rest of Sweden should admire them for. And for us, Oskarshamn, it's the same thing, but they have the interim storage and they want to, of course, get rid of that within at least 70, 80 years or something. So they are of course, highly motivated in that sense as well. And we do also, sorry.
I couldn't say it better myself, but then you say it now.
Okay. We also have an added value program, but that was initiated 2009, long after these two municipalities had decided to take on this national responsibility. And that includes investments in infrastructure, in education, and things that make these two municipalities more attractive to live in, to work in, to move to, because we need, and our owners that owns the power plants, we need to recruit the staff for at least 70, 80 years. And we depend on these municipalities to be attractive in the long term. So that benefits both the SKB and the municipalities.
Could I just follow up then and say, have those community benefits started now, or will they be coming further down the line when you start construction?
some of the investments were made before the government decision, but the major part will be after the government decision. So we're now in part 2 of the agreement.
Thank you.
And I can say that we, the 5 municipalities who is in this meeting today, work very lot together with these issues.
And if I can answer one more question to the same question, is that this is very, very long-term industry. So I don't know if even the paper industry or anything, forest industry can say that for sure there are jobs for the next 100 or 120 years, but this is something that lasts for a long time. So that's something that the municipality around it can count on.
But in both Oskarshamn and in Östhammar, the unemployment rate is very low, almost too low for us, because we need staff. So that has never been a problem in those 2 municipalities, I would say. What do you say, Margareta?
I agree with you. So we have different roles, but we work very close together. So it's very important, and the safety is the prior number 1. Ted,
well,
welcome.
Thank you. Actually, I don't think I have, because Anna raised. I was thinking about the added value program, but now Anna has explained that. And it's a lot of money, of course, and the main part comes to, well, 75% goes to Oskarshamn after the final decision, as Anna mentioned, of course. So that is very important for development and infrastructure and so on and so forth. But another question then, now you will have a lot of skills in Finland, and as you mentioned, Pasi, a lot of international interest. Will that be commercialized in the future for you? There's some money in it for you.
Yeah,
all that knowledge and all that money you have put into this.
Yeah, what I'm saying in it, that Posiva is not doing things alone. There is a lot of different companies and universities and scientists along this. But what we can do is we can, of course, we want to sell our know-how. And actually, it's in Posiva's strategy that once we have finished all these building projects, we can more and more people can move to Posiva solutions, and we can help the rest of the world save their time and money, as it's easily put. But we can also make cooperations with other companies that we can be just, partly joint with somebody. But of course, for sure, there's a lot of information ready for the rest of the world.
Perhaps it's a possibility for a joint venture between Posiva and SKB in the future.
I think they already have.
Yeah, for sure. We both have subsidiaries that are selling our competence and knowledge to other countries' programs, waste programs. So.
For example, good example is that Skanska, which is a Swedish company, but also this is their company in Finland, is building the encapsulation plant. There hasn't been one in the world before, and that's something like 500 million investment. So, I mean, if Askobe, when the time comes, they probably can ask Skanska to do it. I mean, I don't know all the details of the contracts, that what information is, Skanska's and how much there is Posiva and things like that. But that kind of cooperation is for sure what it's in Posiva's interest. It's valuable for everybody, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And also installation of the different kind of automatical things, because there are robots who are handling everything, and those companies can be anywhere in the world, in US, in Germany, and there are different deals. And of course, when there will be other encapsulation buildings around the world, those companies are probably very interested doing and selling that with cooperation of Posiva solutions.
Michael? We don't hear you.
I beg your pardon. There's always another button to press, isn't there? I just thought I could come back to Steve's question because it might be interesting for others from the GMF network as well. In terms of this business of community benefits. And I want to reference something that Pasi said right early on in this about the nature of the societal background in both Finland and Sweden, in the sense that, for example, taxes are paid and spent locally. And that background in terms of what it means to have a big new investment in a particular area is part of the understanding that goes on when you're accepting a new investment. Is part of the financial package in a sense. So there's no need to necessarily introduce special injections of cash just to persuade people to be involved. But there's been a mention of the program that started after the site selection. But another critical thing, I think, in relation to gaining acceptance and trust was that the nuclear fund has been used to, at least in Sweden, to support municipalities to engage in the process. And that was, I think, an important precondition, you could almost say, for enabling participation and being able to go and take part in study visits abroad and just gain information by drawing money out of the fund. And I think that's not necessarily the benefits package that Steve was talking about, but it's very much part of the package which has contributed to acceptance, I would suggest, anyway.
Thank you. I thought that we have no more questions, but I think that Besa Lakaniemi want to say something here at the least of the meeting. Is that right? Hello.
Hello. It's very interesting discussion in nuclear issues and what you talk about in what we get in Eurajoki municipality. That's true that we get that real estate taxes from Olkiluoto. It's very steady income for us, and that's how we can we want to in our municipality to serve good services for our inhabitants, and that's how we have money to do those things, and like Pasi said, that it's very long term taxes what you get during decades, and when you get that steady income, you can also do very long-term plans how to develop municipality and services in our municipality. But first of all, I want to thank you for about this discussion, and it was very interesting, and it was a pleasure to Eurajoki municipality to get part of this discussion and this meeting. I hope for you all the best and have a nice spring also in the Sweden and now we have at least here in Finland very good weather and have a nice weekend for you all.
Thank you. And now I should, this afternoon is coming to the end, and I will say a very big thank you to Finland for many interesting informations today. And I hope we can visit you soon. And also thank you to all participants who has been with us this afternoon and listen and learn and tell us your questions and have many inputs. And thank you especially to SKB and SSM. And it was a very interesting day, I think. We had learned us a lot here. too. And now I will wish you a very nice weekend and a very nice summer. Thank you all.
Welcome to Olkiluoto. I think after summer, the
Thank
visit
you.
will be
Bye-bye.
possible again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.